Hi, love. It's Selena Hart. If you're a Scorpio, or if Scorpio sits strongly in your birth chart, then I need you to listen closely today. What I'm about to share isn't just another astrological message. It's a reminder, a quiet but persistent truth that your soul has always known but maybe forgotten along the way. Scorpio, there is a soul map that was drawn for you long before you were born. I'm not speaking in metaphors, I'm talking about a spiritual design. A divine outline that includes specific days, specific turning points that were never random. Your presence here, on this earth, in this moment, is part of that map. You didn't come here by accident. You came here with a purpose, and in that purpose, there are days that have been marked. Not someday, not maybe, but marquitas and decided long ago. From a place far beyond logic or coincidence. These dates, these portals of transformation, aren't something you can prepare for in the traditional sense. They don't follow the usual calendar or your daily planner. They arrive when your soul is ready, even if your mind isn't. And right now, Scorpio, those days are getting closer. That quiet sense of anticipation you've been feeling, that shift in energy you can't quite explain, that's not anxiety. That's your inner compass starting to align with something that's already been set in motion. I want you to understand these are not feel-good moments or lucky breaks. They're deeper than that. These are moments of truth, moments where the old you dissolves and a more honest, powerful version of yourself begins to emerge. And you don't have to force anything to make it happen. You just have to stay present. Stay real. And listen to what your life is trying to tell you. So, in this video, I'm going to walk you through what these marked days could mean for you specifically as a Scorpio, depending on when you were born, what themes are rising in your chart, and most importantly, what your soul is being asked to shed, face, o into. Let's begin. You may have noticed it lately, a quiet shift inside you that doesn't have a name yet, a kind of inner pressure building, not in an overwhelming way, but steady and undeniable, like something is gathering behind the scenes of your life. And if you've been wondering what that feeling is, let me say this clearly. It's not stress. It's not overthinking. It's your soul speaking to you in its own language through emotion, through instinct, through the soft but unmistakable tightening in your chest, or the heightened sensitivity you've been carrying lately. For Scorpio, that current runs deep. Your emotional radar picks up signals before others even know something has changed. And what you're feeling right now isn't random. It's preparation. Your intuition has already sensed that something significant is approaching, not just an external event, but an internal initiation. These are not surface-level changes. This is your soul preparing for contact with something that was written long before this moment. A kind of cosmic intersection where destiny and awakening meet. And that growing restlessness, it's not a problem to fix. It's a sign you're getting close. Your energy field is starting to rearrange itself in response to what's ahead. Relationships may feel different. Your dreams might be more vivid. And the usual routines may no longer feel quite right. That's because your inner world knows on a level deeper than the mind that you are being called into something greater, something more aligned with who you actually are, beneath the layers you've had to wear to survive. This isn't a time to distract yourself or brush those feelings aside. It's a time to pay attention, because when you feel this much without clear reasons, it's almost always your higher self preparing the ground for breakthrough. And in Scorpio's case, breakthrough often comes through transformation, sometimes through release, sometimes through revelation, but always with purpose. So if you've been wondering whether something is about to shift for you, the answer is yes, but not just something, everything, not all at once, but in a sequence designed to bring you back to yourself in a way that will feel strangely familiar. Like remembering who you've been all along. Scorpio, the divine calendar isn't just vague or symbolicit, it's precise. And depending on when you were born within your Scorpio cycle, The energy preparing to unfold in your life carries different signatures. These aren't arbitrary interpretations. They are patterns woven into your personal, spiritual fabric markings that signal what your soul came here to experience and when those pivotal openings will occur. If you were born between the 23rd of October and the 1st of November, your marked days are about revelation. And I don't just mean new information, I'm talking about the kind of truth that pierces through illusion, that breaks open old emotional walls, and brings light into places that have been in shadow for a very long time. This could be a family truth that changes the way you view your past. It could be the surfacing of pain that you've kept buried because it was too heavy to face alone. But now, life is saying, you're ready. Not because it will be easy, but because what's on the other side is freedom. And the truth, no matter how painful, will always be more healing than the weight of keeping it hidden. You are being asked to reclaim your story, not to be defined by what happened, but to finally be released from its hold. For those of you born between the 2nd of November and the 11th of November, the days approaching your life are about rebirth. This isn't a metaphor, it's a total energetic shift. Something in you, something you've quietly outgrown but held onto out of habit or fear, is dissolving. That old version of you, the one who played small, who tolerated things that drained you, who dimmed your light just to keep pieces, no longer compatible with the life that's being shaped around you. And what's rising in its place is not just a new identity, but a clearer one. The clarity you've been craving, the sense of who you really are and what you're truly here for is coming not as a revelation from outside, but as a deep remembering from within. You will no longer feel like you're watching life happen to you. You'll start to feel like you're shaping it. And for those born between the 12th of November and the 21st of November, your marked days revolve around divine connection through relationship. This could come in the form of a powerful soulmate, a karmic reconnection, or an intense, catalytic bond that forces you to confront everything you've avoided in love. It won't be soft, but it will be real. This person, or these people, are not showing up to complete you. They're here to reflect you. And sometimes the clearest mirror is the one that shows us where we're still hiding, still guarded, is still afraid to be fully seen. These are the kind of relationships that don't fit into tidy categories. They're transformational by design. They don't promise comfort, but they deliver truth. And for Scorpio, truth is always the deeper form of love. No matter where you fall on the Scorpio spectrum, these timelines are not about destiny happening to you. They are about destiny unfolding through you. Each one holds its own rhythm, its own depth, and its own invitation back to the version of yourself that your soul always intended you to become. There's something that begins to happen when you're nearing your marked days, and it rarely starts with external events. It starts inside, souple at first, like a quiet hum beneath the surface of your daily life, and then stronger until it's impossible to ignore. Memories that you thought were long resolved start to reappear, not to torment you, but to be seen again with different eyes. You may find yourself remembering conversations from years ago, reliving moments that didn't make sense back then but suddenly carry deeper meaning now. It's as if your soul is replaying the chapters that shaped you, not for nostalgia, but because there is something sacred in the way they are finally ready to be understood and released. Your emotions might begin to swell in unpredictable ways. You could find yourself crying without a clear reason, or feeling waves of tenderness or grief that don't match what's happening in the outside world. That's not emotional instability, it's your system clearing space. It's the emotional body responding to the energetic shifts that are already underway. Even if nothing visible has changed, your heart is making room for something new. And in Scorpio's case, the heart never opens halfway. When you feel fully, and when change comes, it comes all the way. And then there's your intuition, your sacred compass. It sharpens during these times. You start knowing things before they happen. You sense the energy in a room before words are spoken. You feel drawn to places, people, or decisions that logically make no sense, but that your body fully agrees with. That deep, quiet knowing becomes louder. And while it may not come with clear answers, it brings peace. You stop needing proof. You stop looking for validation. You just begin to know, and that knowing feels ancient, familiar, and undeniable. These are the signs. They are not dramatic. They don't demand attention. They whisper, they stir, they awaken, and if you've been experiencing any of them lately, I want you to hear this clearly. You're not imagining it. You are preparing, not for a moment that might come, but for one that is already written. These days ahead of you are not ordinary. They are sacred appointments between your soul and its evolution, and every shift you feel now is part of the preparation your spirit already said yes to long ago. One of the most damaging myths you may have internalized, Scorpio, is the belief that your depth is too much, that you feel too strongly, love too intensely, notice too many things others pretend not to see. But the truth is, your emotional depth, your intuitive intelligence, your ability to sense what isn't being said, those aren't flaws to fix or edges to soften. They are sacred tools. They are the very qualities that make you capable of carrying the spiritual assignments you came here to fulfill. Sonu. You don't need to fix yourself. You don't need to harden your heart or water down your presence to make others comfortable. And you certainly don't need to apologize for the fact that your soul refuses to live on the surface. What you do need, if anything, is to stop abandoning yourself in rooms where your power is misunderstood. You need to stop shrinking to avoid rejection or playing small to preserve connection. You are not here to blend in. You are here to see truth, to speak truth, to embody truth. And if that threatens anyone, it's only because they haven't yet faced that truth within themselves. So if you've been exhausted from trying to be more palatable or wondering if your depth is a burden, I want you to hear me clearly. Your depth is the medicine. Your task is not to edit yourself down. Your task is to return to the most honest version of who you are. And trust that when you live from that place, life will begin to respond to you in kind. When these marked days arrive, you will feel something shift, not just in your mind, but in your entire field. You will begin to see clearly what used to confuse you. People's intentions will no longer be hidden. You'll know, without hesitation, who genuinely supports your growth and who has been silently rooting against it. You'll recognize the ones who love you for who you are, not for what you provide, not for what you can fix, but simply for your presence. And the clarity will be so strong that you won't second guess it like you used to. You'll act on it with peace, with trust, with power. During these days, soul-aligned people will begin to show up in ways that feel effortless, as if the universe has been choreographing your reunion for years. You'll meet those who reflect your truth back to you, who won't be afraid of your intensity or your softness, who won't ask you to shrink or stay silent. These are your soul allies, your mirrors, your catalysts, your reminders that you're not walking this path alone. And with them by your side, parts of you that once felt misunderstood will finally feel seen. Doors that once felt permanently closed, whether in love, work, purpose, or healing, will begin to open. And they won't require force. They'll open because you're finally aligned with the version of yourself that was always meant to walk through them. The person you used to be couldn't access these gates, but the you who has remembered your truth, owned your power, and come home to your soul, that version of you will walk through those gates with ease. And everything that once felt out of reach will start to feel natural, even inevitable. You'll stop identifying with the version of yourself that doubted everything, second-guessed every decision, and constantly questioned your worth. That voice will still whisper, but it won't hold power anymore. because you will have stepped fully into your role not as someone searching for transformation, but as someone embodying it. You will become a living example of what it means to move through pain and come out the other side not broken, but refined, not hardened, but illuminated. Scorpio, you weren't designed for surface living. You weren't built to float through life untouched by depth, mystery, or transformation. You were made to go where others fear, to tread to enter the shadow, to feel what others numb, to hold space for truths that most people avoid. And because of that, your presence carries something rare. It's not always visible. It's not always understood. But those who come into your orbit can feel an unshakable energy, a kind of quiet intensity that says, I've been through the fire, and I came back with light. This is why you've always felt different. It's not in your head. It's not a phase. It's part of your spiritual design. You weren't born to play it safe. You weren't here to bypass pain or pretend that everything's fine when it's not. You came here to transform, and not just for yourself. Every layer of healing you walk through, every truth you dare to face, every part of yourself you reclaim from shame or fear, that's not just personal growth. That's soul work. And through your own becoming, you become a guide for others. Even without trying, you teach not by preaching, but by embodying. People feel more honest in your presence. They feel seen, and whether they admit it or not, something in them begins to shift because you dared to go first. So if your heart has been beating faster while listening to this, if something in your chest has been quietly saying yes, as if it's finally being spoken to in a language it remembers, then believe me when I say this, you are one of the Scorpios who was chosen. This isn't random. This isn't hype. This is your moment of recognition, the soul-level confirmation that the timeline you've been sensing is real. And it's here. No more doubting. No more delaying. No more asking for permission to be who you already are. The portal is open. The days have been set. The inner shift you've been feeling is not imagination. It's invitation. You don't need to do anything dramatic. You don't need to push or prove. You just need to stay close to your truth. Stay grounded in your presence. And when the gates open, walk through them. You are not becoming someone new. You are returning to who you've always been beneath the conditioning, the wounds, the waiting, and that version of you is powerful beyond words, not because you've conquered everything, but because you faced it. That is what makes you rare. That is what makes you ready. If this message landed deeply for you, let yourself acknowledge it. Don't brush it off. Don't doubt the resonance. Leave a comment and share what part of your soul felt spoken to. There's power in naming what you feel, and there's healing in being witnessed by others, walking the same path. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and turn on notifications, because when those marked days arrive, you'll need reminders. You'll want direction. You'll want clarity when the old doubts try to creep in. And I'll be here to walk beside you, to remind you that you were never walking this alone. This is your time. Scorpio, you've waited long enough, and now everything that once felt out of reach is reaching for you. So if no one has told you this lately, let me be the one to say it. Clearly, there's absolutely nothing wrong with how deeply you feel, how much you sense, how fiercely you love, or how silently you transform. You were never meant to be easy to understand. You were meant to be true. And the life that's arriving for you now, it's not a reward. It's a reflection of everything your soul has quietly prepared for. You don't need to rush it. You don't need to force anything into place. Just keep choosing presence over performance. Keep choosing truth over comfort. Keep choosing yourself, even when the world tells you it would be easier not to. Because every time you do, if you align more deeply with the days that were always meant for you, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, not just with your mind, but with your heart. Wherever you are in your journey, I want you to know you're not late. You're not lost. You're exactly where you need to be. And when those sacred days arrive, may you have the courage to recognize them and the softness to receive them fully. I'll see you in the next message. Scorpio. Until then, stay grounded, stay honest, and stay close to yourself.